Okay, welcome to the BTM Club show. As you know, it is always about people doing great things in the community and a few of our icons. And already, this guy, with his very few years, because he's young compared to me, has already become an icon. What can I say? Welcoming Mr. Charles Venn to the BTM Club in
Oh,
Conversation series. Thank you very much for taking time out.
bless you. Thank you very much, Barry.
I know you're a very busy man. It took a while to nail him down,
Yes. It did take a
but
minute. It did take a minute.
it took a while to nail him down, but I was persistent. And finally, we've got the treasure right here with us. So, how have you been? Apart from busy, that is.
Oh, bless you. I've been good, I've been good. Yeah, Christmas was a great time to just relax, recover, rejuvenate, and yeah, I'm just sort of in the way coming to 2025, poised, ready to go, energized, and there's lots to do. I'm looking forward to tackling them.
Yeah, there is a lot to do. Well, I mean, obviously, we know Charles from his prolific, as I say, already prolific acting career in one of my favorite programs, which I have to say, I have been watching from day one when it started. I've kind of petered off now, to be honest, because things are busier. But yeah, I know now that you're in it, I'm petering out. It's not good. But it was one of my favorite shows. So, I've watched the artists coming through like Martina Laird and they've all been a part of it. Kwame.
For me, that's
Yeah,
right. Yes,
so
yes,
so
yes.
I don't even need to do the research on Casualty. It was my real life. I was following it. But
That
then
makes sense.
entered two more wonderful characters, Ellen Thomas and Charles Venn. Now, Ellen was playing your mother.
That's correct. Yes, she was. She was. She played my mother, which was it was a pleasure. I'd worked with Ellen before a number of years prior, and nothing like that. No, that kind of character. And so what it was is when I'd heard that she was well, I would say I wouldn't say being considered. I think they were almost looking for availability because they knew what they wanted. But I feel as
Right.
though maybe there was between her and someone else for some reason. But I said no, it has to be Ellen. It has to be Ellen. Like
Okay.
that's a given. Do you know what I mean? She knows her onions and I work with this woman and I know
Onions,
just really
potatoes, spring
how to.
onions, Scotch
Yep.
bonnet. She knows it all.
That's the matter. Yeah, you know what I mean? This is a stalwart, you know what I mean, long in the game. And I just thought, yeah, she'll be able to definitely, give the performance that's required for a complex character such as Amo. So yeah, when we got on set and we started doing our thing, it was like a continuation of the last time we worked. But yeah, man, it's a real pleasure. Ellen's
So,
amazing.
what had you done with her before?
So I actually worked on it was actually a play, a radio play I done with her. What was it called? Oh God. I want to say uh, Kill Me Twice. I think Kill Me Twice it was called. It was a
Oh, so
kind
this was theater
it was well it was radio play,
or
but
radio?
say
Okay.
yeah, still radio, yeah. And which is that I mean they're such fun to do. I haven't done a radio play in quite a while, but you get to sort of play acts. You're talking about a large space where you can move around, creating sound effects, walking, punching, whatever. You know what I mean? And it's very, interactive. It's not just you, saying the dialogue, if you will. You
Yeah.
actually physically get to act with it. So we were there, and there was a number of us, Judah Kudike, and I think Toby Bakari was in it. So it was a few of us, and we were just vibing, man. She was playing almost like this kind of Miss Marple, sort of super sleuthy type character, and she had this
Okay.
son. It was so cool. It was such fun. I still actually have it. I think I recorded it on my It's on my iPod. It's on my iPod. So every so often I go back and listen to it, and we nearly worked on another project with Feli Olafowoju Jr. Wonderful, great director, actor, and so we were familiar with each other. You know what I mean? From almost
Right.
10, 12, 13 years ago. So yeah, when this came along, I was really excited to work with her, in this
She
capacity.
is really a chameleon. She goes from comedian to serious to because she was. a schizophrenic as your mother, wasn't she?
That's correct. It was a
Right.
really sad story, beautiful story because the way it had been structured was when Jacob was a young kid, his mother and father separated because he couldn't handle a schizophrenic, condition. And at that time in the 70s, it wasn't something that was commonly diagnosed, you know what I mean? And
Or
so
even acknowledged by the family, or
thank you.
I
Exactly
mean,
that. You know what I mean? Ah,
yeah.
the devil is in her, that kind of, you know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, do you know what I'm saying? See, so you have Jacob that's kind of in the way having to deal with this, and when she would have whatever episode, she'd attack him and say, "You devil child," da 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 da, this and that, and he ends up eventually leaving home. He then to go, through a sequence of events, he ends up into medical school, and he becomes a nurse. And then years later, he encounters his mum again, who happens to be this church, God-fearing woman, but dealing with this problem. And all of a sudden, they sort of try to resurrect their relationship. And sadly, she has, terminal cancer. You
Yeah.
understand? Yeah, so it's like, the regret that Jacob has, and he wishes that he just stayed and,
And
he
had more time with her
yeah, and maybe I could have affected the situation and, maybe prolonged.
positively. And
Do you
yes,
understand?
yeah,
So it was a
yeah.
really lovely, long, lengthy journey. They gave it the time. They didn't rush it, which was really, really lovely of them to
Yeah,
just.
because you really had to follow the evolution of the story. It wasn't
Absolutely,
one that just finished in one episode.
precisely
It's
that.
like
Do you
you
know what
had
I
to come
mean?
back next week and you were held to
Yes.
find out, well, how is this going to
You
end?
know what I mean? How is
But
this going to
that's
be?
what I always loved about Casualty, because it really is reflective of real life in a
Yes,
palatable way.
absolutely.
you know,
100%, Barry. 100%. As I always say, when asked what's the magic about that show, I say it's because it's a show that tackles real life issues, and sometimes real life issues that can be deemed as contentious. Oh, do you want to go down that route? Do you want to address that? Do you want to tackle that particular story, such as the COVID-19, because it was so raw and so many people had sadly passed away from this horrible virus. We decided with the 2 meter distancing to tell this story and just voice what the nation themselves were thinking. I remember dealing with the storyline with coercive control and men being experiencing domestic violence, and you
yeah,
understanding the process that goes with that. It's about rewiring the mind and the brain, and once you rewire it, you can get somebody as big as a powerhouse feeling like a child. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Through
yeah.
manipulative, tactics. And I was like, man, these are the kind of issues they're prepared to tackle. So yes, it deals with real life,
It
100%.
deals with absolutely everything. But it's interesting. How did you all deal with the COVID issue on filming? Because I'm sure you continued, because that's the thing with broadcasting, it
Yeah.
kind of continues when everything else shuts down. So they have
Yes.
to find ways to circumnavigate that. How
Yes,
did you manage?
absolutely.
How did you all manage?
So what had happened originally? Imagine the first week. Yeah, I kid you not, Barry. It was the most problematic week. It was a teething week because we had to now use this one-way system throughout the studio. You could only go in one way. You couldn't go back on yourself. 2 meter distancing. On set, we had the COVID police, we call them, who would have this yardstick, 2 meter yardstick. Sorry, guys, 2 meters away. No, guys, huddling too much. Got to be back. Um, we had a specialized camera that was created that would enable you to move this camera up, down, left, right, eventually in any direction, but it was almost a 2 meter distance, and it would enable the cameraman to get in close to get those intimate moments in a scene, which at that time and a cameraman typically couldn't do because of the 2 meter distancing. So that's what was happening, and it was a nightmarish week because everybody was just struggling with it. But then by the time the second week came around, we started to adapt and adjust, and we were
Yeah,
able to start telling the
I'm
story.
sure. But
Yeah,
as you say, teething in the beginning to just really balance out how we're going to do this. And like everything else, once you realize how you do it, you just practice it, you keep going, and every time you do it, it gets better.
exactly right. We as humans, we just adapt, and it just became that. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, it was really funny because it got to a point with the show where in the coercive control story, and that ran for about a year and a bit, partly because of because of the lockdown period. But what happened was I had to do these intimate scenes with my co-lead, and I had to get my wife in. So my wife was actually doubling. She doubled as the character. Tina, her name was. And so she was all the kissing scenes and whatnot. It was her doing it. I was like, man, yeah. So I said, yeah, welcome to my world, darling. And she, yeah, it was like a lot of fun, I must say.
Okay. Well, that's enough about casualty. Let's talk about the man himself, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Tremaine. So, where did you grow up?
Right, so I grew up in an area known as Mozart Estates, which is along just off the Harrow Road. Uh,
Okay, London.
yeah,
Okay,
West London or Northwest,
yeah.
basically. Yeah, I grew up there in ominous estate, you know, if you will. Although it was all, very it was a communal community. Do you know what I mean? And if you were born and raised around it, that's all you knew. Do you know what I mean? But an
Yeah,
outside, you might be
absolutely.
thinking,
Yeah.
oh my God, what the hell is this place? But we just grew up in it, and that was home for us. And yeah, I grew up there for my four sisters at the time.
Oh, so they're siblings. They're more
I had
Venn.
two sets of twin sisters. Sadly, one of my sisters passed away sadly, 2.5 years ago now. But we all grew up together at the time, and with my mom and dad, and yeah, that was home, man. It was character building times. Let's just say that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff I learned, and a lot of who I am today is definitely based off my experience of my childhood and teenagehood in Mozart Estate. No,
Well,
Mozart
the
Estate.
thing is, it's wherever you grow up, it is the integral part of who you are, the most of who you are. But then as you grow up, whether that beginning be good or bad, but as you grow up, you then experience other things and then realize, well, yeah, there's another way to do things.
Yeah,
And
you got
even
it
if it's not necessarily another way, there are other ways that I can incorporate in living life,
precisely that. Totally.
enhancing what I already have.
You're 100%, Barry. That's exactly that's what I mean about a lot of who I am is based off that. But when you hybridize it with all the experiences from going out into the outside world, and you start using some of those instincts that you had from your humble beginnings, and you incorporate it coupled with your new experiences and your new skill sets, and you know what I mean, communicative wise. And I grew up in an area that was largely a black population. Do you know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
only time I really saw white folk was when I was going to school. I'd see them,
Right.
my teachers, but it was always a largely black community. So when I'm going out there, and all of a sudden you're starting to communicative wise, you're dealing with people that's slightly different culturally. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it was more of that, and then obviously, as I said, you're picking up my skill set when I knew I wanted to become an actor, and you start just learning things. And obviously, in our line of work, I have to be very good with communication. You have to be very social. You have to be able to interact with everyone. So I learned so much from that. You know what I mean? Which was a great experience. It was a
But I
great
think that's what sets, people apart from others, some people apart from others. The fact that you can all come up in the same environment, but some actually, the penny drops that there is more to the world than what I've learned in my environment.
100%.
Um, so, there will be people that you grew up with who probably don't get where you are now or who you've become because of where you
Absolutely.
started. And it's like, well, yes, that's where I started, but I've also seen goodness there, and there,
Yes,
and
yes,
thought that I
100%.
can bring it together with me, not changing who I am,
No, not at all.
but adding to who I am.
100%, Barry. That's exactly it. Do you know what I mean? I always sing from the rooftops where I came from. Do you understand?
Yeah,
I'm very
yeah.
proud of where I came from. Do you understand? Because as I said, you got young'uns from Mozart Estate, for any other inner city or any, estate that will question when they see, okay, see the likes of myself or I know Idris or Richard Black or blah blah. And they're looking at, man, that looks like I could never attain that. That just looks like, they're just working here and they're doing their thing and they're attending this award show and blah blah blah. And I tell them, look. If I'm presenting an award, I say, you know what? Do you know how much it means to me standing here right now, from where I came from, to be doing this and presenting these awards and
It's even more
just
significant.
yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like if I can do it, me, Charles Venn, and people who know
But
me.
even so, it's like you always see that you see the person where they are now when they become a star. You don't see when they were doing the awful gigs in the working man's club,
Yes, sir.
when they weren't getting paid, when
Yes,
they
sir.
couldn't get a cab home.
Yes, sir.
You know, and that to me is what's the inspirational part, because that says to people, well, yeah, I came from this estate, but look at what I did now and where I am now. And
Absolutely.
it's with the determination, but it was a 15-year journey.
Yes, sir. 100%, Barry. You've articulated it perfectly. That's exactly my point. When I go recently, I gave a little talk at it was a mentorship thing, and it was some kids from Mozart Estate that took part in it. And there was some of these kids who were involved with gangs and things of that nature. But what was amazing was that they were told, if you do not attend one of these sessions, you fail. So they kept coming and they kept coming because these kids wanted to make a life for themselves.
Yeah.
They wanted to do something more so than their environment. Do you know what I mean?
Those were the ones that chose to come because they think
Thank
there's
you.
something else out there that I can achieve and attain.
You
But
understand?
I'm sure there were some who were like, I can't bother,
You
man. I'm not.
understand? Long man, I ain't got time for that. But it's that kind of mindset.
Yeah.
You imagine that's I came and I deliberately came quite well dressed because I said I'm doing this deliberately to let you know because I come from where you lot came from. I come from the same soil as you lot. I came from the avenues and da 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 Mobley and all that. I was from that, and if I can do that, if I can do it, there's nothing stopping you lot from doing it. It's just about what it is that you want to do. You commit to it, and you put the work in, and guaranteed the world potentially is yours. So it was almost that, and that's where it's important for any of us that come from those environments to not just sort of shun it to one side and say, no, this is me now, the finished product.
Yeah.
Yes, but I came from that
It
to
came
build
from
towards it.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Very important because I don't remember when I was young. If I'm honest with you, I don't remember necessarily seeing many people in the action. Not to say it was that big and prevalent like it is now. But back then, I don't remember necessarily seeing that. My influences mostly came from America, seeing the American actors, the Wesley Snipes,
Right.
you mean I was seeing them. I didn't necessarily see many here that would talk like that. I remember Baby Father and Will Johnson and David Harewood. I remember those guys.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
vocally speaking and saying, "Look, you can do this," just like we did. We come from the
Yeah.
same kind of spot. Never had that, so I
Yeah.
always made sure my time. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
Anytime anyone asks me, I'm happy to come out. I'm happy to speak, and I'll tell them I'm just like you.
Yeah.
I ain't no difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's certain people that even before those guys that you mentioned, way before them, people like
Mm.
Annie Domingo, and
Mm.
I can just remember seeing
Remember.
them on TV and being like, because they
Mm.
were the first black people that you saw, Carmen Monroe, with their
Mm-hmm.
natural hair,
Mm.
proud of their blackness, but
Mm.
showing
Beautiful.
you that there are endless possibilities.
That's right. There is this world, man, and you can tap
Don't
into
let them
yourself.
make you think that because of your
Nah,
blackness, you're
nah.
limited.
100%. I
Yeah.
remember Rudy Walker, who, funny enough,
Oh,
I saw him yesterday. It just came from TV Choice Awards last night, and Rudy was there. And I'm like, me and Rudy worked on a film 13 years ago about that. Invasion 1897, it was called. And we were just reminiscing about it. Like, man, he was like, was that long ago? You know what I mean? And he's like, literally,
yeah.
Rudy and that distinctive voice. And I'm like, I remember Rudy as a kid. But
Yeah.
I remember him doing this thing on telly straight, and I'm like, man, so yes, like you said, we were those definitely it influenced me, no doubt. But at that time, I
Yeah.
didn't want to be an actor at that point. But I was inspired by them. No two
Yeah.
ways about it. You understand?
Absolutely.
By them.
Absolutely. So
Mhm.
when did you decide that you wanted to focus on acting? What was the moment? Can you pinpoint it?
I can very much so pinpoint it. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was in Queen's Park, the Kilburn Lane area, and so I'm with, and you'll laugh when I tell you this. There's a man by the name of James Samuel. James Samuel. Now, if you remember, there's a film called The Harder They Fall, and the book of what's it called? Clarence, the Book of Clarence. Now, this guy, when we were young, we all grew up in the same area. And I was very good, close friends with his brother, his younger brother, Ariel. And we were in the park. I was always a class clown. I used to always, and I didn't mind. I like to sometimes just attract attention and do something silly. You know what I mean? But no, that was just my thing. I enjoyed that. But when we were in the park on that particular day. It was summertime. I was about 19 at the time. He had a video camera he just bought, and he said, "You know what?" Because we were with a couple other guys, and he said, "Man, let's just shoot this scene." And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, cool, fine. Okay, right. So you're going to be a debt collector. You got to pick up this money from blah 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 blah." So he gave this detailed story, sort of like scene. He had a beginning, the middle, and the end. And cool. All right, and action. So I just started doing the thing, da 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 da. Still doing and I'm just replicating what I was seeing in films. You know what I mean? You know, like a New Jack City or whatever. You know what I mean? It was that kind of energy. And cut. And wicked. That was fun. And then James pulled me to one side and he goes, "Chucky, you should seriously think about acting. You've kind of got the natural, kind of flow for it." And I went, "Oh, thanks, James. Oh, never really thought about it like that."
So how old were you at the time?
I would have been about 19, about 18, 19 years old at the time.
And what were you doing at the time? School, college, working?
It was college. I was college at the time. I was actually studying leisure and recreation. Okay. I always like personal training. Those are the things that I was very interested in. Sports, physical activity. That was my definite bread and butter. And that was the route I was going. And then when that moment happened, I happened to be, because it was summer, my plan was to go and do another leisure and recreation course in Hammersmith and West London College. But when he told me that, I thought, that's interesting. I got a feeling I would actually kind of enjoy that. But, at least give it a go. Why not? So I decided that I was going to, apply for the performing arts course, BTech first in performing arts. And funny enough, two of my friends said they'll do it with me. It was like, yeah, why not? We were young, it's still very, bendable, malleable period in your life. You know what I mean? Where you could just try a couple of things. And I thought, hey, just give it a go. If I don't like it, at least I know I tried it. And I remember when we applied for it, went in for the first day. Simon Beer was our teacher, and we had this lovely drama room in the basement of the college. And it was really lovely space, and you put studio lights, and I remember we did this scene. And I did it with my friend. Big shout out to Matt Rich, Sharky. And we were doing this scene where we were playing soldiers, and we were on the field of battle, and he's basically mortally wounded, and I'm cradling him in his last dying moments before he expires, and I could remember all of my fellow students. It was silence. You could hear a pin drop. And I'm just in the moment. I was doing it, and he's there, and I'm not talking to him, and he utters his last words before he exhaled. And I was like, and I can't remember the line I said to him, but then I hugged him. I was like, oh, you know what I mean? And I just felt the pain, and it was like, and it just went. I remember like, wow. It was almost the power of being able to tell this story and affect the emotions of the viewers. There was something so powerful about that. And I really enjoy being equipped with that responsibility to tell it and to emote that and to generate that feeling back. And I'm like, wow, where's it been all my life? I can't believe I really on this now discovered that I enjoy this. This felt like it was like air to me. Do you know what I mean? And I went, right, this is me. Let's keep going. And I just kept going. I kept going, kept developing, working and this, working and that. And we stayed in it for about 3 years. I was learning as I was going along, reading different things. And then after 3 years, we, I was hungry. I was very driven, very, very hungry. And I was doing, I'm talking essay work and music videos, corporate videos, modeling. Do you know what I mean? Short films, all of whatever I could do to get my name out there.
To hone your talent as well.
Hone it. Yes, 100%. And that experience of being in front of the cameras, working with these people and, that have been stalwarts in the game. I remember Vic Reeves, oh God, Randall and Hopkirk, it was called. It was a remake of the 60s.
Randall and Hopkirk Deceased.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one. I remember I did a scene.
I'm old enough to have been there the first time around.
No, it's I pointed at you.
Right, let's move on. Yeah.
Well, you look good for it though. But I remember I was playing the security guard and I was in this sort of like special sort of all infirm sort of home, and I remember seeing this elderly actor, very professional, and they had the lights and and all the light shades and the styrofoam and all these things on him, reflective, like, and I remember he was just there working on his lines as just before another take, and I'm looking at thinking, man, I want this. I could do this. Do you know what I mean? I'm standing there as a security, as an SA, and watching him like, yeah. That made me even more determined to see these, these savants just doing their work. And coincidentally, at the time, I was going for I had basically applied for a role in Dream Team. It was a show I really enjoyed on Sky One, and I was basically about to have an audition for them. So this during the time when I was essaying, and I ended up going for that audition. Did really well in the first audition. Had a recall, which was in a group. It was a room with a number of other actors, young actors. And Mel B's sister was one of them. I always remember this. And we were all just trying to get this, trying to get a role on this show. And the lovely Jill Trevillich, lovely casting director, she calls me after that recall. I was in West End and she's telling me, Chucky, they really like you. They really like you. And this close to making the decision. It's looking really good, Chucky, I must say. She told me how much the pay was going to be. I didn't even have a proper agent at this time, but she was just like, yeah, we're going to find out soon. And I'm standing, I remember I was on Rathbone Street, Oxford Circus near Tottenham Court Road. And I'm just there hanging about, waiting for this call, waiting for this call. She calls me about 5 minutes later and she says, Chucky, I am really sorry, but it didn't go your way. Oh, what? She goes, yeah, they just went another direction with with this role, and
Casting. Mhm.
I was so devastated, and I was so upset. I was like, man, forget the show, forget the business. You know what, man? I'm done with this. This is so annoying. 3 years and I'm thinking it's my time, and I seem like I was wrong. All right, but after about 3, 4 days, you get on with it. And I got on with it, and I remember there was an independent film I'd worked on called Draining Lizards, and it was the first time I'd ever worked on a film that was required night shoots, and I was going back and forth to South to shoot this thing, and it was a great experience. And after I finished shooting it, a couple of months later, this is at the cusp of the internet, and Jill Trevillich called me again, and she said to me, you clearly must have made an impression at this Dream Team show because they're calling you back again for another role. I went, oh, really? Yeah, so it's on such and such a date. Come in, audition. I auditioned again. And basically when I had sat in the room, I was in there with Robbie G. Man, I was like, what? I'm sitting in this room with Robbie G. I was really shocked. I was like, man, I must really be stepping up if I'm actually
My old
auditioning. You
Southeast
understand?
College person. That's we
Come
went
on.
20 in 19. I'm forgetting the centuries now. And 1981.
Really?
Yeah, we were at college
Really?
together then. Yeah,
Really? See that? You see what I'm
South
saying?
London boys.
Man, and Robbie's still doing it now, man. But I remember me and him done it, and he got the role, funny enough, and I was gutted because I wanted to get that role, but I ended up playing his younger brother. But what happened was they were the role they given me as his younger brother. I thought it was a small role, but it turned out no, this was a quite pertinent role,
Right.
and it ended up being 2 episodes, but I had a lot of lines. It gave me the opportunity to really showcase myself on a show that had a decent following, decent viewership, around about 1 million an episode, Sky One, and as a result, I'd made enough of an impression that they then asked me a couple of months later, would you like, well, basically, we'd like to offer you a role on the show as a regular. I said, yeah, I'll take that, of course. And the rest is history. Once I got in that, then my
Yeah,
profile started to blossom more, and it just like
exactly.
one thing led to
But
another.
I think what you said there is quite relevant because you didn't give up even when you were disappointed, and I think that's the key. Because I'm a strong believer in things are preordained. We think we're controlling it, but what is to come will come in its time when it's supposed to. All you can do your end is persist, be determined, and keep doing what you're doing the best that you can. That's all you can do. There's nothing else you can do.
Yes,
And you
sir.
put it out there, and then whatever's to come from that will come. If it's
Yes, sir.
supposed to come, it will. If it's not, well, you know.
And you're talking that stuff, my man. That's exactly how I see it. It's scary sometimes. There's been numerous times when I thought, wow, but I was sure I know this is meant to happen. And like I said, I'm working and I'm doing my bit. I'm speaking to the higher power and I'm doing my bit. And there were times when I thought it wasn't going to happen, and all of a sudden, either something would take its place, or at the last minute, it would happen. And I was like, "This is written. I know this was meant to be."
Yeah.
Yes, say manifestation is part of that, and da 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 da, and there's luck that comes into play, but I do believe there's a preordainment that also comes with this as well.
Yeah, I strongly
And
believe that. I
you know what I
do.
mean?
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
but like you said, it's just sometimes it just comes in its time. It just often it won't come when you expect it to come. It will come when it's ready to come. But you just
Yeah.
have to stay ready for when that opportunity presents itself, you're ready to go. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Oh, when it
Well, as
comes
they
up,
said, there's no such thing as good luck, is there? It's
nah.
luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
But
So,
thank you. Exactly
um,
that.
as
Exactly
I say,
that.
your end, all you can do is just persist and keep doing what you're doing to the best of your ability, which is the important
Yes.
thing. Because you never know who's looking.
You don't know who's looking, which is why I never take it for granted,
Yeah.
and that's the word to anyone who's involved in the business. I don't care what you're working on. You work each time you're in front of that camera,
Do your
you
best.
treat it the same way as you would treat a Hollywood role. It doesn't matter because you don't know who's
And I
watching
think
it.
that goes for whatever you're doing in life.
Yes,
Whatever
facts.
you are doing, do it to the best of your ability. So
Yes,
let's move
absolutely.
forward to now. With the last time I connected with you was at the Kanga Film
Yes,
the
sir. Yes,
screening,
sir. Absolutely. Absolutely.
and this guy has just written something here, and we want to see the rest of it. Please tell them the name of the film.
So I'd written, directed, produced, song composed, starred in my own production
Stop
called
right there. List that again. That he all did himself, right? So let's go.
Bless you. I'd written, produced, directed, song composed, and starred, and self-funded. Um, yeah, my own production called How to Navigate Being a
If
Mom.
that's not determination, I don't know what is. If that's not determination, I don't know what is.
Bless you, bless you, bless you. Now, 100%. It's 100% determination. That's exactly it. I mean, in truth, I was always scared about making my own production. I was scared. But as I said on the day, right? If your dreams don't scare you, it means they're not big enough. And I knew at some point. I kept running away from that destiny. I was scared about that one, but I knew at some point we're gonna have to collide. And last year, last year well, the year before, should I say, 2023, December, it was something just told me it's time now. It's time to do this. And I just assembled a team. In the end, it was cast and crew, 40-man crew. Everybody just was as excited about this project. They just loved what it was I pitched to them. And because I was cool with everyone, they were just like, yeah, I'm on board. We'll do it for you, Chucky. We'll do it for
Now
you.
that's
Cool.
what I wanted. I'm sorry to interrupt your flow,
No, no, please go
but
ahead.
at the Kanga film screening, you explained that all that you've just said, that you funded, wrote, created, produced, directed, starred in,
Yes, sir.
but you were also surrounded by people who were encouraging you. That when you asked them for the help, they were like, "Yes, come on, let's do it." Now I think that is really an important part, as well as your determination.
Yes, sir.
Being surrounded by people who are supportive and encouraging.
Absolutely. It's requisite, to the process and to the goal, listen, man, unless you are, you have a personality complex of sorts, man. I've always said it's easier to just be nice. It's easier to just be cool, man. I'm not a person that likes confrontation. You know what I'm saying? I only deal with it if I have to. Otherwise than that, I just like good vibes. I just like good energy on set. You know what I mean? And anything I do,
And
I like to
anything you
laugh.
do, you know,
Right? You know
I
what I'm
think
saying?
you get to a point in your life where you realize, well, actually, I just want to be around people whose main purpose from the time their foot hits the floor when they get out of their bed is to make life better, whether it be for themselves or other people.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
that's all you want in your life. You just want
That's all you
people
want,
and people around you that make life better, are
right?
willing to go that extra mile to make life better for themselves and other people,
Oh
not
man,
just themselves, you know.
it's so much easier. It's so much easier, Barry, to just, don't get me wrong. Of course, it can be easier said than done. I do understand that. And everyone deals with issues. And sometimes these issues, unfortunately, can trickle into your public life. I understand that. I do understand that. That's not to, do you know what I mean, cast aside or belittle when people obviously have issues. I get it. I do
We've
get
all
it.
got issues.
But we've all got
Oh.
issues. We all do, right? I'm saying to
It's
you,
how you
behind
handle
closed doors.
them and you don't put your issues on other people.
Facts, 100%. You know what I mean? And that's
You
something
know,
I've always endeavored to do. As I said before, Mike Tyson once said it. We are all great actors, and what I mean by that is
yeah,
our public persona could be. I'm a bubbly guy. I'm laughing. I'm energetic. Da 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 da. And I feed off energy. I'm an energy person. If you got good energy, I'll reciprocate and I'll give you back that energy. And I can laugh and da da da. I got that from my mom. I laugh a lot, and I belly laugh all the time. But at home, I can be a quiet, moody little guy. Do you know what I mean? In my own personal space. You know what I'm saying to
yeah,
you?
yeah,
Mrs. driving me crazy. It's just that's life because I'm human. You understand what I'm saying? But when I'm out there, man, and I'm doing something I enjoy, man, what more can you ask for? When you enjoy what you're doing, that's a blessing. So I come on set with that energy of I'm thankful to do what it is that I have wanted to do for over 30 years.
yeah. That's the
You
thing as
understand?
well. I really think most of the time you have to live in gratitude
100%, man.
because you can get caught up in the, oh, well, I want this and it hasn't come and I wanted to do that and it hasn't come and I want this and
Mm,
but you're not actually looking at, sounds like a cliche, I guess, what you've actually got, where you are, what you're doing, the privilege it is to do what you're doing.
100%.
And,
You're
so
speaking
you
it.
just
You're
have to
speaking it.
live in gratitude and be at peace.
You
So
gotta
back
be.
to the movie that you funded, directed, produced, acted in, did the music score,
Yeah, man. You know what? Okay, this film essentially is about it's about an investigative journalist who bags an interview with a serial killer, and it's a sci thriller. It's definitely one that plays on the mind for sure. You as the viewer don't know where this, well, you know where it's going, but you don't know how it's going to get there. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the theme essentially just deals with impulsive, intrusive thoughts, and the fact that we are curious human beings. We do sometimes often want to go areas sometimes we know we shouldn't, or maybe it's not safe to, but our curiosity compels us to go in that direction. And at times it can be to your detriment. And in this case, here you have this journalist, very ambitious young man, who's can take care of himself, feels he's very much in control, he's daring, and yeah, he ends up putting himself in a somewhat sticky situation, but doesn't see it coming. Do you know what I mean? But it's how it happens, and that's where the audience. And every time I've played it, for viewers, for an audience, they always try to guess where it's happening, and it's at the end. I knew it. Oh my god! Oh, well, I didn't know it was that. Which is for me as a filmmaker, it's just a joy because when I was writing it. I said to myself, will they guess it? Surely they won't guess it if I put it there. Surely they won't. And yeah, look, yeah, 90% of the time they just
So
don't see.
you call it a psychological thriller,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
bordering on horror.
Yes. Yeah. definitely bordering on horror for sure. I'm a, you know, I'm a big fan of Silence of the Lambs, you know,
Absolutely.
the
Psychological thriller, the
man,
best.
the best,
Horror,
right?
yeah, but yeah, because I
Yeah,
mean, some horrors are actually quite silly.
yes,
It's
yes,
just gore and gratuitous
100%.
violence,
Yeah,
gratuitous violence. Whereas the psychological thriller, it keeps you on the edge, it keeps you
yes, it does.
engaged,
Yes, it does.
captivating, riveting.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
really love that psychological thriller thing.
My
And
whole thing is I love the question why. And anytime I write, especially of course in this psychological thriller genre, it's I want you to ask why did that happen? Why is that scene there? Who is that person? Because I always want to give the audience what it is I experience when I'm watching something. Do you know what I mean? I want to know what it is that makes you tick. What made you become that person that you are today? I want to know what was the moment, the pivotal moment in your life that made you go in that direction. Were you born that way? Was it just is this a psychological thing? Do you know what I mean? Did somebody attack or affect you or hurt you to make you want to? All of these questions come into my head when I think of Halloween and I think of Jason Myers and I think, man, sorry, Mike Myers. I think, why are you like that? How is it that you're able to take all of this ridiculous amount of punishment and stabbing and but you still keep coming? Are you a zombie? If you're a zombie, what were you originally doing? I love all of that stuff. My mind just goes, ah. So I wanted to, set this world, create this character that is still somewhat close. He talks about an element of his life, but it's like, okay, that's one part. But what happened before? What was your mum like? What was all that echoing in the background about when we see a flashback to all of this stuff? So I thought, yeah, yeah. And that's the kind of that's just my style of writing. My style of
your
writing.
character, the lead character, was brilliant. It was, very sinister, very dark, very, you
And
know, um, closed.
yes.
you know, like the witch hunched over the. But the journalist, and there are some people like that in
Yes, there are.
life, and that are, they're curious to the point of wanting to make a name for themselves, wanting to be the one that gets the story.
Precisely.
That part of it overshadows intelligence,
Yes.
rationale,
Yes.
sense,
Yes.
because his desire to be the one that got the story, it's all over the newspapers of what's
Yes.
happening. But
Yes.
his desire to be the one who gets the story overshadowed rationale, logic.
Yep.
Why would you put yourself in danger? You don't know where
Yep.
you're going. You haven't told anyone
Yep.
you're going,
Yep. You know what
you
I'm saying?
know? And
Because you
again, it
actually
goes back to
knew.
what we were saying in the beginning. It's like the difference in people. A lot of people came from your estate, but some people see it differently, like yourself. There are a lot of journalists, and some would say, well, listen, I'm going to this place. Come with me. Because that would be me. I want this story too, right? I'm not going to lie. I want this story too. But by the
100%.
time he look out the window, he'll see a whole cavalcade of people around this place that I brought with me. Because I'm like,
Exactly.
I ain't going to no council estate in the night. Are you mad?
Exactly that. Exactly that. But you got these journalists, man. As I was saying, the you those journalists that you see, those news reporters that are in a war-torn country, and literally,
Yeah,
I mean, they got this little like bulletproof vest on. You're thinking, man, I ain't gonna stop you if a bomb comes. Unless you're bomb-proof, you're going to die. And then
exactly. Because your arms and legs are still hanging out.
yeah,
Your
yeah,
head is still
exactly.
hanging out.
You ain't
They
gonna
may as
make
well
it.
have on the vets that you've
Yeah,
got
do you understand? He's
on.
dead, right? Because it's going to be absolutely useless if this thing comes. And you've got like half a mile just in the background, a missile just comes, boom, just blows up this whole building. You're thinking, why would you even put yourself in such an environment?
Danger, yeah.
They're danger, but it's because they know other people don't have the balls to do it. They are the few, those people with that thrill-seeking gene that are prepared to put themselves in there. There's a rush. It's an ego thing. They won't
Well,
mess
they're
it up.
almost as
Do it
psychotic
in a
as the
good
people who were
story.
perpetrating the crimes.
You understand?
This
You
is
understand what I'm saying to
psychosis,
you?
but in a different form.
In a different form, exactly,
Yeah,
precisely that, Barry. You understand what I'm saying to you?
yeah, yeah,
This is, that whole and that's the complexity of the human mind. You understand? And that was where the theme was for this film. And like I said, it seemed that, because even I questioned it as I was writing, would that guy really do this? But I thought, no, they would, man, they would. And then I started researching, no, they would. And then I thought Sean Penn when he went to meet El Chapo, and I said, nobody in their right mind,
yeah,
especially with what you've got, Sean. No way would you go and do that. And you can't just tell any and anyone to come with you. At best, maybe a cameraman. You have to massage this man's ego. This man is a psychopath. I've
yeah.
seen some of the videos of what he's done to people who he found out were undercovers in his own crew. I'm talking horror,
Yeah,
horror
yeah,
cutting off their faces, keeping them alive with adrenaline so they don't die, and he's cutting these people's necks, cut off their hands, and literally. And then in one scenario I'd heard that the in fact, I saw this video. One of the guys that was actually slicing this man with a standing knife on his neck, his face is chopped, it's been peeled off, and he's there lying down. He can't die. He's wishing for death. The man won't die because it's adrenaline. One of the guys who was slicing him was also an FBI undercover agent, but he had
He
to
had
keep
to
the
keep
camera.
there
Had
to
to
stay
keep.
undercover.
You
Yeah,
understand? Because the moment those guys found out, he was going to get the same treatment. So this is what I'm talking about. You want to have a one-on-one interview with him?
you
Like,
got to be
really?
as psychotic as him, but just
You understand? You got
yeah,
to
yeah,
want to do shit like that, to go that far. Man,
yeah.
come on. So in that regard, I said, yeah, 100%. That's like my anybody. If anyone questions it, I have the receipts to show people do this. They've done
Yeah.
it. So yeah, it was the once I'd done that bit, I was excited about writing it. I was excited about shooting it, and just putting it together and seeing what the audience thought.
So what was it called again?
How to navigate being a monster.
That's it. How to navigate being a
How
monster.
to navigate being a monster.
So that is the foundation. Obviously, is it going to expand? Is it going to be a movie?
Absolutely.
Have you got to that point yet? Did
Yeah,
you?
I've written a feature length piece, and
Okay.
I've written a series length as well. And yeah, we're dealing with
Of
I'm
how to
dealing,
navigate being a monster.
yes, it's absolutely
Right.
will be the absolute title. I'm sticking to that title, that
Right.
100%. I think
Okay.
it's one of the dopest
So
titles.
you've written a feature length
Yep, yep.
and it in series form.
In series form, yeah. I've written my pilot, and yeah, I'm dealing with some people right now, and yeah, it's let's just say basically this year it's gonna be an interesting one. Let's just say that. I'm pretty certain of that. Pretty certain of that.
But
Preordained
we
one.
can't even see the clip anywhere, can we?
Not really, even though if you go on social media, all viewers here, go on social media, I do have a clip of the trailer, that 30-minute
Okay.
yeah, on my Instagram page, and feel free
How long
to.
is the trailer?
It's about half 30 minutes. So excuse me, 30 seconds.
30
Uh,
seconds, right? I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah. And I'll give you a snippet, a taste of yeah, what goes down in this production. But yeah, that's very much the taster in itself. But what I have in store for it is yeah, it's a once again all psychological. It plays with the mind, keeps you guessing. You may think you think it's going one way, and it absolutely curveballs you, which is, as I said, I just get off on productions like that. Psychological thrillers it's just the way forward, man.
Yeah, I do love my psychological thrillers. And I kind of worked out that he was going to die. I did kind of, because I am that person with the psychological thrillers. So,
Yeah.
I did like yourself. I love the Silence of the Lambs, that whole series, and all of those types of things. All of
Oh man,
so, once
Mindhunter,
you're
brilliant.
into it, you kind of have a thinking a certain way.
Yes, 100%. There's no doubt. Definitely Hey, I definitely tap into the dark, my dark thoughts. I definitely tap into that, and I have to. I know, and that's the beauty of when you're you're writing something, because I think it's the closest to, I don't say godlike complex, but it's like I'm creating this world. I'm creating
Yeah.
it, and I can do whatever I want in this world.
In this world, yeah.
This world, right? You know what I mean? This character
Absolutely.
can do whatever I insist he
Want him to
does,
do.
want
Yeah.
them to do. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so as a result, you have the license, especially in this particular genre, you have the license to just, you could create some of the darkest things, you know what I mean? Within reason, of course, but you could create some dark stuff. Like in my series pilot, it's a scene, it's just twisted. And I've always wondered what would happen if you did this. I said, in my one, we're gonna see what it looks like when you do it. You know what I mean? All the dark things,
Yeah.
yeah, like it's
Because
guaranteed.
I'll make it what
Like,
I want to make it. Yeah.
it's just one of, you know what I mean? It's like, come on, you get to venture and you get to get an idea and a sense of what it feels like when way I've written it, and when you see it, guaranteed you'll be like, oh, it's one of those moments, you know?
But I love that because there's nothing worse for me than going to see some movies and it ends with this non-conclusion thing. And they say, well, you can make up the ending as whatever you want it to be. It's like, well, if I wanted that, I would have written the movie. But no, I paid to come and see a movie with a conclusion. Because, so,
You would
there was
drive
no
me
question.
mad. You will
Yeah.
drive me insane if you don't give me some sort of conclusive ending to this.
Yes.
Yes, you can give me a teaser if you want after we've concluded that section, but then
A teaser to keep
credit.
you good for the next.
Thank you. You understand?
I need a conclusion. I need reasons.
This
I
one.
need answers. I need
Yes.
why are you?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right? Psychopath, Psycho one. Created by the great Alfred Hitchcock. And I
Oh,
always remember, man, the
Janet
scene.
Lee and
Oh
Anthony
man,
Perkins.
what incredible film, man! The suspense,
I just
the
got goosebumps
oh,
there as you
oh
said.
right,
Yeah, yeah,
goosebumps,
yeah.
straight,
Goosebumps.
man.
Just as you
Come
said.
on,
Yeah.
and look at the curveballing when obviously when Lee dies so early in the film, nobody
In,
saw it happening, right? Big curveball, and then all of a sudden we see the detective seeing the light on in that house, and then when he finally goes in, he knows something's up in there, and then he goes up those stairs, and he goes up, he gets to the top flight, and then all of a sudden, and they got this, and Alfred Hitchcock, such a genius, he has this bird's eye view of that top floor, and we hear where, and you see this person that
yeah.
comes up, we assuming
And
is
the
a
way
granny,
it's filmed with
very
him
swift.
falling down the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was frightening, it was shocking. And then when we go downstairs into the basement and you see the granny's actually been dead for God knows how long.
Yeah, just with the lights
Yeah,
going in the rocket. But listen, all I can say is if you are using Mr. Hitchcock as your starting point, we can only expect great things from you. Really. If you're
that's a
using
basic
Hitchcock
piece
as
coming.
the starting point, I mean,
They're my
you know,
guys. They're my guys. They just, yeah, they in terms of suspense, curiosity. He's one of the savants of that, Alfred
yeah,
Hitchcock. You know what I mean? And these are my muses, when it comes to things like that. And to see the ending as well, to hear that detective describe and explain what happened, to close it. That's the type of stuff. That's great.
exactly. Because the other
Storytelling.
policeman then, or psychologist comes and then he breaks the whole thing down for you about the patricide, matricide,
Oh,
and yeah, and
delicious.
now how's these so many personalities in that you will never actually get to him because
Exactly.
he's
I
in
mean,
there somewhere,
he's
but
in there, deep in there, yeah,
yeah,
right?
but
I mean, how delicious is that? Where you almost start painting pictures in your head of, man, whoa, what's the real person in there like? And my God, that is a hell of a condition to have. And whoa, how was he coping? What was he doing on the other side? How many other people did he kill or did he do this with? And that's just one example. I can't be the first one. All of these, permutations of this story to start playing in your head. That's
yeah,
great. that into me. I love that.
Well, and
I
even listening to you talking about it, you can see the passion that you have for it. So, you were alive when we started talking, but when we got here, it like went up a notch. It went up a notch. So, you
I
can
just
really see the
love it.
passion you have for it. So,
Yes,
2025, we're
yes,
hoping it's
sir.
going to be an even bigger year for you. And
Amen.
we want to see how to circumnavigate being a monster
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's
as soon
coming.
as
It's
possible.
coming. Got some tasty stuff coming for you. Believe me, very, very tasty stuff. Watch by the yeah. I won't say when, but definitely this year. It's gonna be a very,
Well,
very
know that the BTM Club is supporting the project. Whatever it is, let us know. We're
thank you
putting
very
it
much,
all
sir.
over, spreading it, sharing it wherever, however we can.
Please do, sir. Thank you very, very much, man. It'd be good. I'd love to see you guys again. Honestly.
We
Thank you.
definitely will. We're
Bless you.
on it. Cousin, thank you very much.
God bless. Thank you so much, Barry. God bless you,
Take
sir.
care. Bye now.
Bye-bye.